We can look at 14 different platforms that are identified with our partners. We can look at 30 or we can look at thousands. Depends on how deep we want to go. And every time we look, new items get released every day. Bad actors will pull themselves down and they'll reappear somewhere else.
All right, welcome back inside our proactive newsroom. And joining me now is Otis Perrick. He is the CEO of SECUR3D Holdings. And Otis, it's good to see you. How are you?
I'm not bad, Steve. Thanks for having me today.
Yeah, good to have you along. So I learned a bit more about your company. It's fascinating the work that you do in this world we have where security is obviously so important. So why don't we begin there? Tell me a little bit about the origins of the company.
Yeah, no problem. Steve, when we looked at what was happening today in the world with generative AI and the creation and content that we see in the digital realm, the misuse was crazy. The amount of people that can go in now and you can create something that looks like another person. It can be a piece of content, it can be a logo, it can be a dupe. We found that that was causing many brands and IP holders issues. So we developed SECUR3D. It goes out and it simply detects, analyzes, and proactively can stop any kind of brand infringement. The bad actors, we put them on notice.
Yeah, and is this agnostic for any industry and any companies? Tell me a bit about who you go after and maybe who the key markets are.
Key markets you can look at from luxury brands, high-end luxury cars, sports leagues, gaming and entertainment, anyone whose brand brings value to them. We can then go even further and you can look at today's TikTok users, Instagram creators, and UGC, user-generated content. And that facet of the world in the digital realm is blowing up, if you would. If we look at gaming, for example, a lot of games that we see out there today, whether it be on the Roblox platform or the Fortnite platform, users are generating the content and the ecosystems that are developed there. If we want to look at something like, the New York Knicks had just won, in the NBA Finals. The amount of digital content that was created online and then uploaded and sold through, places like Etsy or Amazon that was unlicensed, that has to be identified because the end result is there's copyright and brand infringement.
Absolutely. Your platform as a whole has a number of different assets on the platform as well. And maybe sort of talk me through how it all works.
Yeah, simply put, we partner with a brand. One of the partnerships that we have, we look at like a partnership with Herschel. We take their brand and we put it through our back-end system, and we're able to analyze and annotate all the details we need about whether it be a backpack or their brand logoing. And then we can identify online anyone that is creating a dupe of one of their items. We take and use that evidence package and provide it to them. And then we can do a direct takedown and provide them that, reassurance that they aren't being using stolen goods or having stolen goods taken from them.
Sure. I noticed that you recently announced that you mentioned Etsy was one of the platforms that you're on, and you've added that to your online marketplaces, and you're on a number of other ones as well. So it's these fakes can be just about everywhere. So I guess the platform really needs to be just about everywhere.
That's exactly it, Steve. I mean, we can look at 14 different platforms that are identified with our partners. We can look at 30 or we can look at thousands. Depends on how deep we want to go. And every time we look, new items get released every day. Bad actors will pull themselves down and they'll reappear somewhere else. So it's an ongoing thing that we can look at on a daily basis, a monthly basis, or a quarterly basis, depending on, the depth that any brand or IP want to go.
Yeah. Talk to me a little bit about the next 3 to 6 months. So what are you expecting from the company? And as far as like revenue is concerned, is a lot of, just starting to continue to work on these partnerships with brands and things like that. It sounds like that's really what the business model is.
Yeah, we're going to continue to follow the roadmap that we have in place, which is the continued development of our Sentry platform, our commercial AssetSafe solution is already out and in use. But as we continue to develop the Sentry platform, we're seeing the use cases, grow every day, and those partnerships that we're going to continue to deal with that are in the pipeline are going to add the value for our current investors and future shareholders.
And lastly, Otis, just on a personal note, I'm wondering, you're in security. You look at this stuff all day, things online and these fakes and brands being ripped off. How shocked are you just how much is out there? I mean, it sounds the business never ends because it seems to never end as far as online is concerned.
Yeah, there is definitely a plethora of content that's out there, and the misuse goes beyond just what we would think we see every day. It dives into the realm of unappetizing to just simply stolen. And for us, we give that reassurance to any one of our customers and our partners that look, there's someone on the backside of it looking after you and your brand. And that again helps them when they're dealing with their vendors and people that have actually licensed their brand and want to use it. And that simple protection, it's almost an insurance layer. So the proactive approach that we take kind of gives them that reassurance.
Yeah, I know you're traded on the CSC. SRD is the ticker symbol. So Otis, thanks so much. Really great to catch up with you and learn what you're doing. And as I mentioned, it's a busy business because there's lots happening online. So appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Steve.
All right, Otis Perrick, the CEO of SECUR3D Holdings.